again, everyone. I want to introduce you to Tobias Brunner, aka Tobru. He will tell us today about furniture and sausages and what they have to do with cloud-native services. Enjoy.
Thank you. So I'm wondering as well what this has to do with digital sovereignty, but I hope we will figure it out together in the next hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, I don't know. We'll see. So my name is Tobias, and I want to talk to you about these three things, the furniture, the airplanes, and the sausages. So raise your hands. Does anyone already have an idea what this could have to do, or what they have in common and what they have to do with digital sovereignty? That's great. You have an idea, probably. Good. So what I can already tell you here is that all these three things are products. You can buy them. If you have enough money, you can buy even a great airplane. That's for sure. So, yeah, they are all products. And to give you the story a bit about these three products, we will start with furniture, which I call is the problem. Then we will head over to the airplanes, which is the precedent. And last but not least, we will talk about sausages, which we see as the solution to these problems we see here. Let's start with furniture, which I see as the problem here. But not only me, it's also very inspired by Bert Hubert, which is a technical writer. He writes great blog posts about digital sovereignty and other interesting topics. And he actually is the reason why I'm standing here today and talk to you about these three products, and will take some of his articles as an inspiration for this talk. So imagine you go to IKEA. So you, on a rainy Saturday afternoon, many people are going to IKEA to buy or not buy stuff. They browse around in the store there and they see nice things. You might see a very great sofa. This is the sofa you always wanted for your flat. So you decide, this is the one I will buy. You go to the counter to a nice person and ask for the sofa you want to buy, and all you get is a list of trees you have to buy. So, and if you're lucky, you also get a manual how to create a sofa out of these trees you will now buy at IKEA. Is this what you expect when you go to IKEA? Probably not. Will you go back to this IKEA? I don't think so. This is not really what you want. You want a finished sofa you can take home, or someone have to deliver it to your home, but not trees to make it yourselves. And this is exactly what I see in today's cloud native or cloud service provider landscape. If you go out to a cloud provider, all you get are trees and not the finished furniture you actually want. So let's take a database as an example to make it more concrete. So you sign up at a Swiss or European cloud provider. They have great services available. And all you get is a virtual machine or a Kubernetes cluster, but it's empty. You have to install the database. If you're lucky, the cloud provider provides you an installation documentation, how to properly and best install and configure this application on this virtual machine or on this Kubernetes cluster on this cloud provider. But also, they do operations. You're on your own. You install it, you configure it, but then no one else takes care of it. You have to do it on your own. I see that is the metaphor of the lumber, which I've talked to you about before in the IKEA case. But actually, what do you want? You want a finished installed database which is up and running, and you can just use it and someone else cares about it. So one click, fully managed database, you get backups, monitoring, SLA, and all the other nice stuff. And at the end, you get one bill. Usually a huge bill, what we have heard before from David. But that's furniture, actually. It's the finished product. It's not just lumber. It's someone created the furniture for you, the managed service on this cloud provider. So I think the gap we see here in Europe and Switzerland is not that we don't have great engineers. We do have a lot of great cloud service providers, But that's not enough. So they sell you the lumber and not the furniture. So the gap isn't the talent, it's that this isn't productized. So that's what we really need. Now, another part here is if you go to IKEA, you have a huge amount of articles to choose from for your household. So you get all the things, you get sofas, you get tables, you get chairs, you get everything else you need for your household. So a huge amount of things to choose from. So that's mainly also the reason why you go to IKEA and not to another place, because you get everything at one place. You don't have to go to different companies to buy your sofa here, your table there, and your chair at the third company, but you go to IKEA because you get everything there. Same for hyperscalers. Why do you go to a hyperscaler? Because you get everything from one hand. So take AWS as an example. They have a huge catalog of services at hand. They have over 200 and more services you can choose from, and the same applies to Microsoft and Google as well. So what we need is a whole catalog of such services. Let's move to the next product on the list I'm talking about, the airplanes, which I see is a bit of a precedent or the proof that something can be done about that here in Europe or in Switzerland. Maybe a bit history for those who don't know it. In 1960, Europe figured out, oh, there are other companies out there who are capable of building great airplanes, and we are not capable of doing that. So they had a thought of we want a European airplane, a commercial airplane which can be made and bought in Europe, and we are not dependent on the US factors here. So a few years later, around 1970, they did something unusual. They built a consortium. They gathered together different countries, each country providing a part of an airplane, which is then at the end combined to a full product, the finalized airplane assembled in Toulouse under one brand, Airbus. It's not just one company building all the individual pieces, but it's many different countries providing stuff and individual pieces for the final airplane, which is then built and can be bought. I think this is important because an airline doesn't go to Airbus to just buy one piece of an airplane. They want a finalized, fully built airplane they can then bring onto the skies. There are other examples out there. ASML, maybe some of you heard of them already. They are a quite important Dutch company which is building very complicated machines to build the chips our computers are running on or our smartphones. This is built in a similar way than Airbus before. And these two big companies, which are building the world-leading products in that space, are the proof that in Europe we can do big things. We can really do great products if we do it together. So both of these examples, these companies weren't built on a table. Someone had an idea, let's build an airplane, and then Airbus was born, but it was like a get-together of many companies having the same idea to build this airplane. Now we have to briefly talk about open source. It was mentioned before, open source is the pillar of our digital infrastructure. Without open source, we wouldn't be here today, I guess. So if we take the example before the database, someone just says, yeah, but what's the problem? Just go there and download the database, install it, and then you're happy. You don't need someone else because it's free. It's there, you can get it. But the problem with that is not solved because open source is not more than a product. It's something you have to take and build something around it. To stick with the example before, imagine your development team needs a database or any other specialized service for their application they are building. Now you have two options. option one is you hire someone, or you already have someone on your team capable of doing it. This person downloads the software, installs it, configures it, tweaks it, makes backups, makes monitoring, collects metrics, collects logs, makes sure that it's patched, and also probably goes up in the night when it falls on its nose. I see this is a project. It's not something you can do just in a day or so. You have to plan for it, you have to make room for it. On the other hand, if this software is already available, finalized on a hyperscaler, for example, you have just one click, few minutes later, you have this database, this software at hand, and someone else takes care of it. You don't have to take care of it. So this is the product at the end of the day. You know how much it costs, someone else gets up at night, it's not you, and this is the product here. I've talked a lot about what we did before, about IKEA, about airplanes, and now it's time to look at the solution which we see is in the sausages. So hyperscalers, they do not only sell software, they sell services. And not only one service, but a lot of services. So they take what's being built out there, be it open source software, be it commercial software, that doesn't matter, but they build a service around it for the end user to consume as a product. And that's, I think, what we need. If you wish, the lumber, so the open source, is already in the forest, so we have enough open source available, but we need to make it usable for the end user, because that's what the customer wants. And to stick with the metaphor before, we need a furniture factory which builds furniture out of lumber. And now we have to change the metaphor. We need a sausage factory, actually. But what does this mean at the end? So maybe first, why sausages? So the German-speaking people in this room will already have an idea what we're talking about. I want to introduce Cervelat to you, and if we speak this in German, we say Cervelat, which is the Swiss national sausage, actually. But I mean, we are a Swiss company, so the pun is intended, actually, but it's a bit more behind. So if you go to a butcher, you buy a Cervelat. And it's a finished product. So someone else, or not someone, but many people have already taken many steps to provide this Cervelat to you. So it's a finished product. You can buy it. You can buy it in masses, not just one, but a lot of them. And it's a finished product at the end of the day. So this is the thing we are talking about here. So. Also, to make a Cervelat, you need people with many different skills. So you have someone raising pigs, for example, and someone building the Cervelat with mint and spices and all these things. You could do it on your own, of course, but then it's probably a project. It's not so easy to create a great Cervelat, so you need a skill and time. So it's easier for you to go to a butcher and buy a finished Cervelat here. Let's look at another list of German words to connect all these things together. So, if you wish, Airbus is a Flugzeugfabrik, airplane factory. IKEA is a Möbelfabrik, a furniture factory, and what we need is a Wurstfabrik, a sausage factory, to build all these products around open source and commercial software to make this into a service. Now, what do we see what Cervelat is? We think Cervelat is a federated hyperscaler, or if you also wish, an open hyperscaler. We combine different skills into one thing. For example, we have cloud providers here in Switzerland or in Europe, and they are building great infrastructure. They are building great virtual machines, Kubernetes clusters, network storage, and all these things. And we combine that with software vendors. Software vendors can also be open source communities, foundation building great software. And someone who takes care of it is the managed service provider, which is the last piece we are combining. We are forming an ecosystem of these three skills together. And the Wurstfabrik, if you wish, behind the scenes, combines all these three ingredients to a finalized service which the end user then can choose from. As we've heard before, IKEA doesn't have just one product, they have a lot of products to choose from. So we need one catalog, you go to one IKEA to buy all these products. So we also need one catalog to buy all these services around open source and commercial software. We need an IKEA store in the cloud. When you go to this IKEA store, which we now call Cervelat, it's very simple. You have one catalog where you can browse for all your needs, like in IKEA. Then you have one click, you can choose a service, you can choose where you want to have it deployed, at which cloud provider and who takes care of it. And at the end, you have one contract, one bill, and one support entry. You don't have to go to different stores, different IKEAs, different persons to ask for help. It's just all at one place. To connect all these things together, we need a catalog which is broad like the IKEA catalog, so whatever you need is already there. You don't have to go to different places. We also need coordination like Airbus. It's not just one company which can build this up on their own. We need a lot of companies coming together to build this infrastructure. So we have to collaborate in Europe and Switzerland and not compete against each other, because then we can grow. And at the end of the day, we need a productized services. We need the sausage makers, a finished product which you can just use. To close off, I think to becoming strategically autonomous, we need to join forces. We cannot do it alone. Our vision is that we bring the services to the data, to your data, so that you don't have to bring your data to the services. Imagine today you probably are copying your most precious data to the hyperscalers or to someone else's computer, and then it's there. We want to turn this around. We want to make sure that all these services are coming where your data is already stored or where it should be. We also don't think that the hyperscalers are going away. They will stay, and that's okay. We can also run services there, but the importance here is that we have the choice, that you have the choice where you want your data to be stored. Yeah, I would say let's build the Wurstfabrik together. Great time to be here, I would say. I'm Tobias. Here you find my contact information. And yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts and questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tobias.